when somebody requests them, but they're not somebody that hangs around the sport and just hangs on forever and ever and ever. I think she will make those appearances because she can, drive crowds and can drive fans, and she definitely has that marketable ability. But she's just not, I don't think, is going to be that person that hangs on or attempts to hang on forever.
We're talking with Steve Wilson, official NASCAR contributor from SpeedwayDigest.com, who has graciously helped us out through this segment as we got sidetracked a little bit, but that happens from time to time. We'll be covering the Indianapolis 500 and the Indianapolis Grand Prix next weekend for Speedway Digest. But, Steve, any thoughts that you have on the Indy Car month of May?
I think it's exciting that we're back here already again. A lot of racing is going to go on very, very quickly over the next month, especially out in Indiana. You guys got USAC, you've got ARCA, you've got Indy Car. I mean, you've got everything coming up in the next few weeks.
We do love racing in Indiana, that is for sure. There's racing and there's basketball, and we got some really big basketball news to talk about coming up. Myself and executive producer Rick Riggin probably will be flying the ship solo for the next half hour before Mo for the BS Sports Show joins us, and we're talking about the Kentucky Derby. Any money on the ponies today, Steve?
No, I don't have any money on it, but as my wife says, it's the greatest race that she'll ever watch. It's 2 minutes and 15 seconds of racing, and she's good with it because of the short attention span sometimes. But she loves that type of racing.
Well, the thing about it might be a 3-minute race, but it takes 6 hours to get ready for that race with all the free races and all the television coverage and so forth. Certainly, it's the Super Bowl of horse racing. Steve Wilson of Speedway Digest, where can people find your work and your masterpieces, sir?
You can follow us at Speedway Digest on Twitter, Facebook.com/Speedway Digest, and SpeedwayDigest.com. I don't have anybody at the racetrack this weekend, but next week our senior editor, Brett Whittingham, will be at Kansas for the two night races, Friday and Saturday night.
There you go. Steve Wilson of Speedway Digest. Have yourself a good race weekend. We'll be talking with you again soon, sir.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Steve Wilson of Speedway Digest. Rick Riggin, our executive producer, is going to be joining us here in just a moment behind the break.
I'm still here.
And you're still here. All right. Romeo, wherefore art thou? We will answer that coming back right here on the Balance Radio Network.
Pop, it's showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. I bet they know as soon as we walk in.
Bobby, you're here again.
Yeah, my doctor told me to reduce stress at work, so I come to Buffalo Wild Wings to eat lunch and watch sports. I get to pick one of 7 entrees, like sandwiches and salads, plus one of 7 sides.
Well, I like sides.
It's so affordable I can finally take a vacation.
Where you gonna go?
Here, Tim, here.
Introducing the new beat-up Fast Break lunch menu, starting at a new low price. Dine in or order takeout weekdays between 11 and 2. Participation and availability may vary. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
It's double trouble, double the fun at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. See the largest antelope on Earth, the giant eland, and the ugliest creature on Earth, the African warthog. There's so much to see and do, including the Midwest's only drive-through safari. Feed the animals, see live educational shows, feel the excitement. Have your picture taken with a python or cockatoo. Feel the adventure. Shop the Symbol Lodge gift shop with items available from around the globe. Visit the snack bar or picnic facilities. Enjoy a pony or camel ride. Or cheer your favorite porker on to victory in the famous Pork Chop Down. Bring your family to see the rare and exotic animals at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. Just take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the sign. Only 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Balk, now
meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
When you don't go to geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar.
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
All right, welcome back to The Balance. 1 hour in the books. Thanks to Matthew-Embury, popular open wheel now, breaking down Indy Car, the Indianapolis Grand Prix, the Indy 500, and Steve Wilson of Speedway Digest jumping on for a NASCAR segment, breaking down NASCAR, Dover and NASCAR. Now we get to some real neat meat of the show, if you will. Romeo, oh Romeo, wherefore art thou? Rick, do we have an answer? We do have an answer. It is, wait for it, as we found out this week in the biggest news colossal and the biggest to-do about something maybe, but I don't know. I think the lead up to the announcement was longer than what his college career is going to be. Indiana University, he picks Romeo Langford, goes to Indiana University. Rick, what say you?
For me, it's not really about how successful the program is going to be this coming season. It's really more about the future of IU because and Archie Miller's legacy, basically, that he's building at IU. What this speaks more about that than it is just going to be wins on the court this season. Because what this says now is Archie Miller can recruit, and also it's okay for 5-star All-American athletes and McDonald's All-Americans to come to IU. So for me, that's much more of a bigger deal, for the future of IU than just the wins they're going to have on the court this season.
Absolutely. And, Rick, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you break down Romeo Langford's pick, IU and college basketball, what it means to college basketball for the next few minutes, as I am still having to multitask. So give me about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll be back. But it is all you, sir, for the next 5 minutes or so. Talk with us about Romeo
Tom, there's
Langford.
no way I could just talk about Romeo Langford and a long-winded thing with
Romeo
Langford for 5 minutes solid.
You talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about your ribs, that's fine. I just need about 5 minutes because it was unplanned, and those things happen, and I've got to take care of that. So I will, off mic, I'll give you the scoop on everything. But just talk about anything. Just make sure we don't have dead air for the next 10 minutes. You got one job, buddy. One job.
Oh, now it's 10 minutes, and when it was just 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. All right. Give me just a few. I'll be right back.
All right. So anyway, how this all started with Romeo is it's really started with the downfall of Louisville basketball, Rick Pitino, and the escort services and everything that was going on at the University of Louisville. Because I fully believe that Romeo was more likely, I would say 98%, going to Louisville, being right there in New Albany, Indiana, and Louisville was right across the river. I would say he was all in on Louisville, and IU wasn't even on the radar for Romeo, even though same state but different head coach and maybe a different recruiting tactics and a different style of playing basketball IU under Tom Crean. But I don't even think Romeo was on IU was on Romeo's radar. But then the whole thing happened with Louisville and Rick Pitino being fired, and so he kind of had to reopen his recruitment a bit and take a look at other schools and other opportunities. then Archie Miller comes in to IU. And, he laid it out. The first time we saw Archie Miller on an IU podium was him saying he's going to build a fence basically around the state of Indiana and keep and go after our recruits here. And that whole statement was just geared towards Romeo Langford and keeping him here in Indiana. He made Romeo his top priority. He worked on that all season long. I mean, and I even think IU did bad this college basketball season, this past season, considering the changes they went through, the guys they lost, getting rid of Tom Crean and some of these guys heading off to the NBA early, like Thomas Bryant, OG Anunoby, leaving early. We still had those guys this past season. I mean, who knows what IU would have done, but big transition period, and going 16-15 on the season was, I think that was a hell of a job, really, by Archie Miller, and then keeping Romeo Langford as top priority through all this, and not just being so terrible, really, on the court that maybe Romeo would not consider IU anymore. But it came down to IU, Kansas, and Vanderbilt, and I don't think anybody was really worried about the University of Kansas stealing Romeo from Indiana, because as we talked to Kent Sterling on the show a few weeks ago, he was right. Romeo would just be another 5-star recruit for the University of Kansas. Maybe a one and done. I mean, we all think he's going to be a one and done, but who really knows? But he was right. He would just been another McDonald's All-American for the University of Kansas, and that's why Kansas. All right, good.
How
now,
long
see, I was in the middle of my whole spiel, and now you just interrupted me. Here, go. Yeah, go away from there 5 minutes. No, go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Well, anyway,
go ahead.
Yeah, how we were talking about with Kent Sterling a few weeks ago, how Romeo would have just been another 5-star recruit for the University of Kansas, and I do agree with that, and that's why Kansas really wasn't a threat in my books for Romeo to pick Kansas. And the thing with Vanderbilt, his best friend went to Vanderbilt, committed to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's close to home, close to New Albany. Nashville's probably about 2.5 hours away from New Albany. So that's pretty close. So, and with what Bryce Drew is building down at Vanderbilt actually was a legitimate threat for landing Romeo Langford. But Archie Miller did a wonderful job having a winning record this season, 16-15, and keeping Romeo Langford as his top priority, both things in season one. So for me, that speaks to the program, what Archie Miller is doing in Indiana, and the longevity of it. He ain't going to be there for just 3 or 4 years. This is probably going to give him a long career at IU if he chooses to stay. And so for me, this whole thing speaks more about IU down the road, the future of IU basketball, as opposed to just this one season right here. Tom, back to you.
And I totally 100% agree with you. Thanks for being my co-pilot there, Rick. That's one of the perks of the job. But the great thing about it, and you said it, you nailed it on the head, that Archie Miller can recruit. And here's the thing. He can recruit inside the state of Indiana, and I think that's one thing that Tom Crean, I know we're kind of going Indiana homers. Of course, that's where we're based at. That's kind of right here in our backyard. I'm an IU alumni. Well, and it's a national story, too, and it has a lot of national implications. Certainly everybody knows basketball goes simultaneously with Indiana. You mention Indiana, you think basketball and racing, for that matter, but you think that Indiana's got a program. We could talk about Notre Dame, and we could talk about Ball State. We could talk about University of Evansville. All good basketball programs inside the state of Indiana. And one of the things that Tom Crean was unable to do successfully on a consistent basis or on a sticky basis is recruit inside the state of Indiana. And I think a lot of people would say he didn't even try. He went and hung out at these AAU camps, and I don't know that he tried very hard to recruit in Indiana. And we were kind of going